And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
We're going to be taking a look at a game called Pixel Lincoln. Pixel Lincoln is, the theme of it apparently. What is the theme? It's Pixel Lincoln is fighting enemies around every corner. It's based on a not existent 8-bit Lincoln game where he goes through and fights enemies all the way up to John Wilkes Booth. Although, from what I understand, that game is being made, and that I would really be interested to play that. It's kind of funny how, they have the Lincoln is fighting everybody now, vampires and zombies and all that, because it's interesting. I guess the statute of limitations over, you would never make a game about a modern president and their assassin and make it a humorous thing. But I guess this long ago doesn't matter. But this game is pure silliness. There's all sorts of weird, funky monsters in it. It is a deck-building game along the lines of Dominion and those games. Let's take a look at how it plays. In Pixel Lincoln, each player is going to be going through a level. They are a pixelized version of Lincoln, and there will be 2 levels in the game. There's a board, and there's 2 levels here, trying to evoke the different games. You look at one, I think Mario. Look at another, I think Castlevania. Looking at 8-bit games, but you need to build your level first. Now, the game comes with a sheet that you can use that tells you how to build an easy, medium, hard, or insane level. Insane is just randomly picking. What you're going to do is there are different items that you can pick from to put in the level, like swordfish, double jump, ice breath, mutton star, boxing glove, duck, bowling ball, berserker burger, chicken cannon. So you're going to pick for each level of the game, you're going to pick 3 of those. So let's say I'll make my deck out of swordfish, double jump, and ice breath. I'll just pick those 3 for deck level 1, and mutton star, boxing glove, and sausage link wrap for deck number 2. Now, you can pick, I just picked randomly, which may not be the best way to do it. You're also going to put groups of enemies in each deck. And there are piles of enemies in this game. Let's take a closer look here. We have exploding pigeons, and the luchador, and the throwing luchador, and luchador turret, and a bunny bomb, very nasty, annoying creature, zombie bot, Tommy cat, plague doctor, slime, of course metal slime, puking turtle, and of course your laser shark, as we know all good villains need to have. You will also put 1 secret item in the deck. So there's a deck of secret items, like maybe you'll put the big coin in a deck, or you can make your own up here, or a laser fiddle. And then you're going to put 3 characters in the deck. Now, there's a lot of characters out there. There's some in the game. There's promo characters. There's a character, I even have one, a Tom Vasel character in the game. And these are pretty similar. Each of them will give you points if you get cards with those symbols on it. Players are going to each get a meeple or thing of Abraham Lincoln. These are okay. They really don't look like Abraham Lincoln. They look like some guy with a giant afro, just walking down the street having a good old time. But it is what it is. You will place the level decks here, and then you will place cards that you are pulling from the level decks out in each level. So let's say, for example, there's up here's a couple enemies and some items, and then the rest of the deck will go here. In that deck, you're going to shuffle 3 checkpoints. They will be shuffled 1/3 into each third of the deck. When the first checkpoint shows up, doesn't mean anything, but when the second checkpoint shows up, underneath that checkpoint, you're going to put a mini boss. And then when the third checkpoint comes up, you're going to put, a big bad boss underneath that. Players are going to have their own deck of cards. This deck of cards is initially made up of jumps and beardarang. Because it's a historical fact that Abraham Lincoln could throw his beard at people. So you'll shuffle these cards, and you will draw 5 of them, and that will be your hand when it's your turn. Now, at the beginning of your turn, if for some reason you are directly in front of a monster, you must deal with that monster right away. There's 2 ways to deal with monsters: by fighting them or by jumping over them. Jumping over them, simple. You just play a jump card. When you equip this card, and this game has some odd terminology. You equip cards, but basically that just means use the card, and then it'll go to a discard pile. which isn't on the player board. It's kind of weird. You have your deck, a place to put cards that you score. Here's where you put cards when you spend them for money. Here's where you put them for when you equip them. I guess it helps differentiate which way you're using the card, but then you need a discard pile. Where's that? Well, whatever. On the back's the scoreboard for the end of the game. But anyhow, what you'll do is you must jump over a creature. So whenever you play a jump card, you jump over that card. So that's one way to avoid the creatures. Or I can play cards like that's a laser shark. If I had 4 bearderangs in my deck, you can see here that each bearderang has 1 power. Most cards that you will be getting and equipping and adding to your deck will give you power and or money. So after you deal with an ambush, if there is one, wherever you are, whichever level you're in, you will then start moving in that level. Each card you must jump over, or if it's an item card, you can buy it, or if it's an enemy, you can fight it. When you buy a card, you'll place them in your discard pile so that when they come up, this one here gives you a 3 attack and 1 money. So that's a pretty good card. At the bottom is its cost. It costs 4. And at the end of the game, it's going to be worth 1 point. If you fight an enemy, for example, I fight these exploding pigeons, I'm going to need 4 attack power to defeat it. And when I beat it, instead of it going into my discard pile where I'll draw it later, instead it goes here into the score pile where at the end of the game I will score it. So players will move up as far as they can each turn, and if there's an empty card, you just move to the next spot. If they get to the level deck at the end, then basically the level scrolls. What will happen is, let's say green is here, all the cards behind all the characters are discarded, and then everybody is slid back, and then you draw more cards from the deck to continue on with the level. And so you just keep going. When a checkpoint comes out, the first person who gets to the checkpoint, there's kind of like a pause in the game, and each player can draw a card, score a card, although scoring a card basically means taking a card from your hand and putting it into your score pile. So you're really culling a card, or you can exit the level. You can switch to the other level if you like. And every player can do that. The player who reaches the checkpoint gets to do 2 of those actions. Now, as players are playing this, they will eventually get into a spot where they cannot beat an enemy for whatever reason, and each player has 2 life, which is 5 points at the end of the game. You will lose 1 if you cannot defeat an enemy at the beginning of your turn. At the end of your turn, all the cards you did not use, you can discard them if you'd like, but you do not have to, and you will draw back up from your deck, and if your deck runs out, you'll take all the cards that you've bought, shuffle them together, and draw from that. So, like I said, it is very similar to a deck building game. When you get to the mini bosses, so let's say I get to the mini boss here, the evil pigeon man, you cannot jump over them, you must fight them. So you must fight a mini boss if you get to him, and then of course if you get to the big boss and you beat him, then that level is shut down. When both levels are shut down, the game is over. Finally, many of the cards have an icon in the corner of the card. These icons can mean different things. One of them lets you move from one level to the other level. One of them allows you to put a card in your score pile. One of them allows you to cancel the ability of an item card or an enemy card. And one of them allows you to look at the top 5 cards of the level deck and rearrange it. So these are important for that reason. So you can use that card, discard it for that ability. Or at the end of the game, well, even more importantly, if you buy characters are kind of worthless in your deck, but at the end of the game, she will give you 10 points if you have 3 cards with a time symbol. And he'll give you 3 with 3 for an X, 2X and a star. And so there's different combinations. If you happen to have these people in your deck, they'll give you points at the end of the game. So like I said, when both levels are done, the game shuts down. You take all your cards from your score pile and from your deck, mix them together, and just simply count up the points. Some things are negative points, but mostly there's points, taking any bonus for any characters where you meet the goal that they have, and whoever has the most points is the winner. Just before I recorded this review, I got in Pixel Link in the deck building game bonus pack and travel box. I was going to mention how this box was a little too big for everything that came in here, but this holds all the pieces. It also comes with cheat codes. On the bottom of some of the enemy cards, there's arrows that point left, down, right, up, up, down, left, right, A, B. And if you have the matching cheat code on the card, you'll be able to play this. You give up those enemies, you give up points to give this. You can defeat standard enemies with just 1 power. That's one-hit kills or money bags. Every turn you get an extra coin. So these are interesting cheat codes that you can get, and it's hilarious. You get the big head mode. Come on, the things from the different games over time. This pack also comes with a whole pile of new characters, and to be honest, one of them does say Tom Vasel. Board game reviewer, cosmic encounter enthusiast, not a fan of trading in the Mediterranean. Amen. It also comes with some characters: the Wraith, Trekion Legacy, Bunker, Absolute Zero. Those are guys from the Sentinels of the Multiverse universe. And then we got the Mortar Log, Panda Cannon Enemy, an Axe, because, Abraham Lincoln needs an axe, and then, of course, Vampires. And other famous board game people in here. There's the Little Metal Dog as an enemy. So this is a cute little addition to the game, and I just thought I'd bring that to your attention. Now, as for Pixel Lincoln itself, a lot of the game is involved in the humor. Haha, it's vomiting turtles, or, I'm fighting luchadors. And the humor is good. And as you move your little guy around and fight them, that works. This game has me really pumped to play the 8-bit game. I'm a big fan of the 8-bit era. That's when I grew up, and those are the games that I played as a kid. And I look forward to trying that out. As a game itself, this is a very basic deck building game. Now, there's this whole scrolling mechanism where the cards are coming at you. And while that's there and it's interesting and it kind of simulates the way a video game scrolls at you, I could never really take myself out just to say that that's just a mechanic of how to go through the deck. I never really felt like I was actually moving through the deck. And I never felt in any true danger, because if you have those jump cards. If there is a big bad enemy, you can avoid them, except for the bosses. And at that point, hopefully, you have buffed yourself up with some good cards. It's a deck building game, and it's a very basic one. Most of the cards give you different combinations of money and attack, and there's things like double jump and ranged weapons that can let you hit enemies. But for the most part, it's very basic. A few things, like I wish the icons at the bottom of the cards were easily to remember what they did. I said, what does the clock one do again? I don't remember. And building a level, that's interesting. I like how the actual game itself comes with these little boxes that you can put a level in. They look like, Nintendo cartridges. These boxes is level 1, and then I got level 2. And so all that's good. The boards are kind of superfluous. You don't even need them, so the travel box works fine in that regard. I like the game. I like the theme, but it's not like blowing me away here. After you take the theme away, and after you kind of cross your eyes a little bit, look at the scrolling thing, you'll find that it's just a very, very generic deck building game. In essence, that there's just 2 different decks to go to when you're buying cards. It's more advanced than, let's say, maybe Ascension, but it's not that much more. It's really on that same kind of level where you kind of just wait and see what happens on your turn. You keep cards and things from turn to turn, but for the most part, you're buying cards, fighting enemies. I never felt that threatened, just going through and having a lot of fun. Entertaining. The theme is going to do it for a lot of people. They're going to enjoy it. I wish it was a little deeper than it is, but, well, come on, it's called Pixel Lincoln. So I expect a lot of people to get it on theme basis alone, and I don't think they'll be disappointed in a fun game, as long as they're not looking for anything that's really that involved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.